Hey, it is Marianne here coming to you from Lincoln, Nebraska, and I want to take a few minutes and talk to you all about writing your resume. So, I don't know if it's the fact that it is spring or that there is a vaccine and changes in the air, but my mind is absolutely blown when it comes to how many people are requesting resume help from me. Like, I would say that probably of the last 5 Work Warrior inquiries, 3 of them have all been about specifically resume rebuilding and being excited about going out there and looking for jobs. So what I want to do is talk to you all and give you some tips and tricks and tools on what you can do if I am talking to you and you are in that boat about writing a resume. Now, my plan is to do a series on this. Now, you notice I say my plan because if any of you have ever followed me, you know that sometimes I have the best intentions of doing things and then you get like 2 videos. So I'm at least going to try and put out 2, if not 3 videos for you on resume writing and then move into interviewing. Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about today. I want to give you an inside look as to what either the recruiter or the hiring manager is thinking when they look at your resume. And here's why I want to do this. If you can understand what I am looking for and what it is that makes me think, wow, this is a great resume, then you're going to be able to actually tweak or tailor your resume to your audience. So I want to dispel one myth right now. It seems to be that people believe that either hiring managers or recruiters have a calling to do what we do. That is absolutely, positively not true. When we are looking at filling a position, it is literally a job, and we want to fill that position as fast as we can. So something to think about. When I was in the hiring world, and it was time for me to hire or fill a position, I remember my attitude was literally, oh my God. Seriously, like it was not a good one, right? Like my whole thing was, oh my gosh, I have to go and spend my time hiring and doing all of these interviews to fill that spot. So the reason that I'm telling you this is because if you want to make sure that your resume gets noticed, it is your job to make your resume as easy for me to read as possible. That is going to be a gift that you are giving me so that I will actually read your resume from start to finish. So here's something that I want you to keep in mind. The average hiring manager looks at a resume for less than 10 seconds. So I want you to think about that for just a second. You pour over your resume, picking out the right words, stuffing it with information. And when I pick it up, I am going to literally look at it for less than 10 seconds and make my decision on that. The reason that I'm telling you this is because it seems to be when I talk to people that are putting their resume together, they want to stuff everything in it so that I know they are the best position or the best candidate for that position. But I want to give you some things to think about as you're putting your resume together. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a test and I asked friends to send me in resumes. And what I did was I went through and I actually looked specifically at what is the information that I look at on a resume. And did I read every word? First off, I absolutely positively did not read every word of that resume. But let me tell you what I did look at. So first off, I didn't even look at your name. Didn't care. Didn't care your name, didn't care about your phone number, none of that. I went directly to the body of your resume. And here's what I looked at. I looked at where you worked and what position you held. So the first 2 things, do I know where you work and do I have a clear understanding of what your position was? The next thing that I looked for were these things called success verbs. So success verbs look like increased, decreased, streamlined, created and implemented, changed. So anything that would tell me that you were able to drive results. What I didn't look for was words like managed and responsible for. I was looking more for those verbs that showed me that you knew how to drive change. The second thing that I looked for was numbers. And when I talk about numbers, I mean numbers. increase sales by 10%, decrease turnover by 25%, decrease safety accidents by X amount. And so when we talk about driving results, those numbers were something that without even realizing it, I was scanning for. So the reason that I'm telling you this is that when it comes to writing your resume, the more success that you can show and the way that you can actually quantify it is going to be something that jumps out at that person that's looking over your resume. Now, something that I want you to think about this, if you throw in a increased sales by 15%, guess what? I might not even know how much 15% is. However, because you put it in there, what you want me to do is go, oh, wow, that's pretty impressive. So make sure you include those verbs and those numbers. The last thing that I looked at on a resume was all of the education and etc. So what I mean by this is I would always glance down at the education, and it wasn't necessarily to see if they had a higher education, but instead it was from way more of a personal standpoint. Did we go to the same school? Might we know the same people? Is there any type of that connection? I also looked at all of the etc. And when I talk about etc., I mean awards that they won, civic organizations that they belong to, volunteer experience. And the reason that I did this was actually not because I was looking for a well-rounded person, but instead it's just because that's what makes you human, and that's what is interesting to me. So really do recognize that I want you to make my job easy. And the way that you're going to do that is by understanding specifically what is the information that I am looking for. So I just gave you an insight as to what it is that I look for. What I do want you to know is that my next video, I'm going to talk to you all about how do you format it so that you make it easy for me to read. And then I am going to do a third video for you in talking about putting your Emmys on the front page. I'm actually kind of excited about that phrase because I think I've taught at least 150, if not close to 200 people about how to create their resumes recently. And this whole phrase of put your Emmys on the front page is kind of becoming like a coined phrase. So I'm excited about that. So stay tuned if you want to hear from that. One thing that I will also be releasing in the next couple of days is I do have a very special offering for those of you that are looking at going and doing that job search. When I say very special, it is very special because one, it is not anything that I have offered ever in the past. And two, it's incredibly limited. And when I say incredibly limited, I'm only taking, I only have 5 spots open for this. So more to come on that. It will involve resume writing. It will involve looking over your LinkedIn profile and also interviewing. So just know that help is coming along the way on that. Anyhow, I feel that I've talked really fast and I've used almost 8 minutes of your time. So I am going to stop talking now, but I very much look forward to seeing you all soon with another video.